Good evening and welcome to the Recreation Commission's first meeting in the month of May. The agenda says the first thing we want to consider is the minutes from the previous meeting. Anyone want to make a motion on those minutes?
Make a motion to accept
receive
the
them,
meeting.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make a motion to accept the minutes from the previous meeting.
We have a motion, seconded. Any discussion?
I just had one question on it.
Okay.
And it just had to do with responsibility. I wasn't here at the last meeting. And I don't have the minutes right. Let me just see if I can't remember my login. Thank you. It said the conservation, I forget where it was, but the conservation, it said, was responsible for, I'm sorry, I need my readers. I wish anyone have a bigger screen?
Yeah, what do you want to know?
There you go.
Maybe. I don't know. I should have brought my glasses.
I like
Oh,
you.
no, that's even worse. All right. So
There you go. That makes it bigger.
it did say at the top, I'm not sure if anyone recalled, when I talked about river access, and I read it. Okay. The selectmen own the property. The Conservation Commission is in charge of the property. And the Rec Commission handles all repairs and construction. And then it goes on. So when we said what we were doing, so I found it, I don't know what the Conservation Commission actually does.
Well, they lease the property through the selectmen.
They don't
And
lease.
as I understand it, they're going to put it out to bid for next year for that farmland.
Okay. So when we say the conservation is in charge of the property, that is responsible for putting it up to bid or
Right.
leasing it?
Right.
Okay. All right. That's
We're responsible for the
maintenance.
river access, maintenance,
Okay.
and control, and signage, etc. Just like we are with any other park. in
Right.
town.
So when they say
Right.
the Conservation Commission controls it, that's the entire parcel there, not just the.
As I understand, it's the
Not-
whole
not
parcel
the
because
river
that's what
access.
comes under the deed, I guess.
Mhm.
It's supposed to be primarily used for farmland. It's supposed to be controlled in the Conservation Commission. And in that whole discussion way back, there was also river access that was discussed before purchasing the land. And that's why we're
Okay.
able to get in there with that.
Okay. So they're in charge of that piece of it. Okay,
Yes.
That helps. 'cause I
It's
wasn't
us.
sure.
It's just like
It is
all the
us
other
for the
parks.
maintenance, the
Signage,
fencing that you're talking
control.
about. The fence, I guess.
So anything related directly to the river access is
Is us.
under.
That's how I read Troy's memorandum of understanding.
Yeah, that little acre and a half or 2 acres that we have now is recreation. The other 11 and a half acres or whatever it ends up being is still conservation selectmen. Yeah.
Perfect.
Well,
That's
we're
the
also, everything, even us, is under the selectmen when it really comes down to it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. Conservation seems to just be the middleman at this point. They buy the land and then
Well, but
everything goes through
they
us.
have the rest of the farmland then.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And they established the River Access Committee, and I mean, that really has been functioning really under them and us as a combination going through, which has really been pretty good. All right.
Okay. Yeah.
Any
that's
other
the question.
discussion on the minutes?
Nope, that was
All in
all I
favor,
had.
say aye.
Aye.
500, motion carries. All right, I can close out the minutes and then go to the next item on the agenda unless somebody's got it open.
Let's see. Consideration of public input.
Yeah.
All righty, that was nice and quick. Facility and field requests.
I'm bringing it. I don't see any.
Has anyone checked the mailbox lately?
No, I don't have access to it.
I'm gonna see if I can get a key and go check it. 'cause I'm-
Here.
Yeah. There may be some public input. Yeah, field requests.
Take a moment and pause and reflect. This is that dead time that'll get on YouTube saying, what
Yes.
are these four people doing? Sitting,
Just
in
sitting
the-
here doing nothing.
doing absolutely nothing except looking at each other.
We could say the Pledge of Allegiance.
What's that?
We could say the Pledge of Allegiance.
We could.
We could.
We could, but then we'd skip out on Keith on that.
What am I doing here?
Why don't we?
I know. Trying to get my
Other than that, I
passwords.
mean, there aren't any other requests other than
It's
what.
quiet. Well, I mean-
Absolutely fine. Everything's well underway now, so.
Yeah, I think we hit now everyone's outdoors. And that whole,
Oh, man.
no mail either, yeah.
Welcome
We've
back.
hit
We
our
had
quiet
a
time.
long discussion and a
Yeah.
quiet time while you were gone.
We had a moment of silence.
Yeah.
Old business bylaws. Did everybody get that email from Andy?
Yes.
Okay.
Wait
So
a
that computer he turned over to me way back in 2011 didn't work in 2011. That was the one we used to use for the access to get into and out of town
Yeah.
hall, and that thing failed. Right, it was gone then. So if there was any electronic accident, I never saw it.
So I had a hard copy. I still haven't found it. I thought it was in that binder with everything else that I gave to you, but it wasn't there. So that may turn up, but I was pretty sure I got that from Jason Hope. So which would have meant
Which
it's
would
on a
make
computer,
sense.
It's on a computer here somewhere. So
Okay.
Possibly.
And we're still going to go that path we talked about last meeting, right? You're still going to try and create.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did concern about what he mentioned there as far as having to take it to town council as far as review for that. It sounds like they may have their own idea of what should be in bylaws.
So I
Because
would
the state-
assume that you could probably look up, other rec departments, rec commissions, kind of get some ideas. But I think that email, the information in that email was correct, that we're basically, everything we do is governed by RSAs, which are in that binder.
Yep.
And it's more of like policies and procedures that fall in that, what that document was.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
I mean, I guess it's good for us because we do have a lot of times where we say, hey, this is our policy. Someone comes in and asks a question. We say, no, our policy is this, but we don't have necessarily those written policies to say, hey, this is what we stand by.
You don't
This is what
rent
we go by.
Darapon to outside parties. It's just a historical.
Right. It's kind of,
I don't know if you could actually make that a policy or if it's just a long-standing
Well,
practice.
that was all in that binder is all of the legal. There was a lot of back and forth with I think two different attorneys on that about what's the liability and what responsibilities do we have if we allow usage for one party to another. So I think that's all stuff that we should probably cover in something like that is, those, whatever we determine is our policy on all of those issues, and that way we have them written and,
Yep.
and we maintain a consistent response to people who are coming in,
I think the bylaws allows the foundation for the legitimacy of whatever policy we put in place on anything, right? Because if we can say, okay, this is how we vote, this is the opportunity for comments, and then it can be, like it was raised in there, we're kind of protected from people who would maybe have an issue with the outcome of one of our votes if we have an established procedure for that. So
Now, what about,
that's,
I'm not sure if this is process or procedure. Now that we have the new rules that state, I guess, has implemented on us for these background checks, is that something we would add to the bylaws as a
I don't think it was bylaws as much as rules.
it was rules and procedures.
rules and
is what it was
procedures? Okay,
called.
so
Right.
Right.
would that be, so we would, I mean, I don't know, again, I don't know if I ever saw them talking about requesting insurance binders, requesting police details at events with alcohol, just like, as you just said,
Yeah.
documenting things.
I know, and like I think the additional insurance requirement, if there's an event with alcohol at town hall, that's something that's a policy that we've always put on people. But the document that says that, the request form doesn't have that included. So we've
Correct.
always just stated that, but all of that stuff should
And
probably.
that was a selectman mandate back, before rec commission, on the rec committee. Followed up with the selectmen, when the rec commission started, and they said, yes, we're going to maintain $2 million liability policy for anything with alcohol.
And another thing that I remember being in there is the when an organization, like originally it was basketball, but then lacrosse came in, and any organizations that were under the umbrella of the rec commission, how that was structured, and it was really pretty stringent on the requirements for those groups when they come in, and we never really enforced it that way. We just kind of made our own policy and went along with it, and I think it stayed pretty consistent with all those groups, but it wasn't what was written on that document. So
Okay.
So that's kind of stuff, I guess, that could be added in.
Into it. Okay. Great. All right. Well, I will have the draft uploaded before our next meeting for folks to take a look
Wow.
at, and we'll go from there.
Huh?
Great.
So, well, draft. So, but something to look at.
Title
Do
page.
we,
That's
do we
right.
want to, I mean, I know Andy's talked about putting things on Google Docs. I mean, can we as a commission, we have our email account. Can we upload it there and
Yeah.
have
Yeah. That's
it
what I
there
need to
for
do.
all of us? And then future, I mean, so it's somewhere, not on someone's computer,
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
somewhere not accessible, and whoever takes over will have access to it. And
Yeah.
we're long gone.
Try
I
to do
think
that.
there's a lot of paperwork that just doesn't get uploaded.
True.
I don't know if there's a way for us to.
Back to your comment about the next meeting, I will be on my way, probably halfway to Florida to go to a wedding that week.
Excellent.
Does anyone mind if I dial in?
No.
And listen in? Just love to hear the discussion on what goes on. And I'll be cruising along and it'll keep me awake.
All right. We're happy to help.
When's the next meeting? 21st, right? Yeah.
2 weeks.
22nd, right? Today's the 8th.
Yep.
Yeah, 22nd. Yep.
Oh, 20. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm on Monday. I always think,
It's five Tuesdays this
and
month.
that's why I was like confused when I said, "Oh, this shouldn't be a meeting this week," because we didn't have one yesterday for selectmen. So it always my fault.
All right, next item is new business. Well, gravel's kind of not under river access, so I'll take that one separately.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I thought it was gravel.
Um,
Like, yeah.
We had holes in a couple of our properties. One was at Dara Pond off to the side of when you're coming out of the parking lot, the right side of that had a dip in it that was to know tomorrow. They paved Brook Road, so the Corning Field's got a 4-inch dip heading into there. And the entrance to Litchfield Park, when you first come off the road and over the bike path, got about a 4-inch drop. Jack said he'd put the gravel down, so I said we'd pay for it because it's coming to us. He's already done Dara Pond because I was there the other day
He
when
did some
they were
work,
playing in
yeah.
the rain and
Yeah.
it was already done. He hadn't done Litchfield Park as of 2 days ago, and Corning Fields will be done by the company that was contracted to pave and take care of that. They still haven't come out to do the rest of the road, but they're supposed to make that straight and level. And Kevin said the same thing. Get back to them if that doesn't happen correctly. So I guess we'll continue to
So they've
talk
kind
on
of
that.
moved out. I mean, they just paved that, last week, right?
Yes.
And they've moved out. So, I mean, I guess.
The paving
Was they
stuff moved
supposed to
away,
do
but the
They still-
company that does the side of the roads, according to Jack and Kevin,
Okay,
still have
different-
not.
different company.
They still have a task to complete.
Yeah, they got to come in and shim like that whole area for Corning Field and driveways too, don't they?
I don't know what the rules are, 18 to 24 inches or whatever, but they're supposed to put a slope into it. So that was the gravel thing, which had nothing
Okay.
to do with river access. And I should have been more specific when I went across
No
with
worries.
that. Fencing was the next one on the item. So we have a discussion or a meeting. We're going to take place with the selectmen on Monday. This coming Monday night, you're all welcome to come down. Jason and I are going to be down here. The selectmen want to review the river access decision or thought process behind what kind of fencing at the entrance. So the question is, how do you approach it? And if you've been down there, there's an angle coming off the road, and then the road goes and heads down. That angle has opened up a bigger than we originally expected driveway right at the road. The culvert to the right of that is a drop off like no tomorrow.
Really?
So yeah, it's a good 4 feet. There's no cruising behind that without getting knocked off, which is a good deal. Nobody's going to scoot around that fence. It's an ugly hit. So our intent is to put fencing up along and turn it in and run in 50 to 60 feet from the edge of the road. And that's where our first gate would be. The intent of that is when the park is closed, river access is closed, that double gate will swing, it'll have a stop sign on it, and it'll have a lock on it that the rec commission, fire department, police department will all have access to. It'll be one of those chains going across. The distance is based on what a fire truck can get in there comfortably and then get out of there comfortably, was why we went in so deep. We're looking at a simple rail fence going across. There's a couple ideas that have been tossed around, but we don't know what the selectmen are really looking for. One of the ideas was vinyl at one point. It just doesn't fit the area. And when we kept talking about the rail fence, it as a group, we did a survey, and we'll bring that survey out to the selectmen and say, this is what this group wants. There were granite posts they talked about and so forth. Yeah, exactly. Well, they're going to get the granite post for free. So, yeah, exactly. It created maintenance, though, and that was my biggest concern. Anything we would do that would create long-term maintenance, I was like, let's hang on. Let's make it simple, make it easy, and just let it get out there so it can sit there for 30 years where there's no problems. After the fencing, it's going to be boulders every 8 to 10 feet, I think it is, or every 8 feet will there be another boulder, 2 or 3 feet long, running all the way down. And there's already a staked line for parking lot rail, very similar to Sawmill.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about drilling that in. Now, one of the access things is they built the road wider than what our original plans were. Our intent, and again, we'll find out if the selectmen are okay, is to drop the stones and the fencing on the driveway itself. It'll prevent weeds from growing up around the rocks and us having to get in there and take care of them. It will also narrow the road more down to the width that we originally wanted it to be. And it'll make it look a little less like a freeway when you're heading down there. And same thing with the parking lot, is the posts will be, most of the posts, the way they've laid that out, will be right into that hard packed soil they've already put down. We're at the edge of it right now. There was some talk about going down there and putting up the parking lot stuff last weekend. That got pushed off because Jason was away, and we thought he was coordinating. He came back on a Friday and started trying to coordinate it like that, and that didn't work out. There's talk about doing it this Saturday. I'll be in Maine, so I won't be able to help. I'm building a gate for it anyway, for the backside, for the access, for the police and fire from the backside, and it's just a simple lift gate going up. It'll block the majority of the driveway heading down, but leave enough room. I think we have it down at 6 feet or 7 feet for canoe carries. You won't have to climb over a chain or
This is
anything
from
like
the
that.
bottom of the parking lot headed down to the river.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right at the back of the parking lot. And if you've been back there, the parking lot is almost rectangular, and then there's a jut out and then the path. And that jut out is where we want to put the sign for the parking lot. So as people get to the edge of the parking lot, that sign with all of the rules and regulations will be posted there. There's also be a sign at the road. We want to stick with the majority voted to stick with the traditional Recreation Commission signage like we have at Dara and like we have at Sawmill, and do that at the road, as well as something similar to that down in the parking lot, something less obtrusive down at the river, something much smaller. There's only a few regs that we want down there, that little, hey, there's no lifeguard on duty kind of signage, which I don't know why we have to post something like that if it's up top, but some of the group want to do that anyway. So,
And the gate opens and closes daily, locked.
the discussion with the police chief was his guys would swing in and close it up at night and open it. Whether that occurs or not, we'll see as it goes. It will be on us to determine time of year opening, time of year closing, and so forth. Right now, I wouldn't open the thing. That river is just humming. I don't know if we really want to put it out there to say, hey, this is a good time to jump in the river. I don't know if we want to get into that place of regulating when is the good time during the season. But I think at the beginning of the season, we can say, hey, let's make the river look normal before we send people out in the rapids. It's fast right now. You can see it going over the Pearl Harbor Bridge. But the last item on that question was about porta potties at the river access. There was also a question about whether or not you could do picnicking that came out on the What's Up page, and my answer was, whoa, no. There's picnicking down across from the fire department. There's places for that on the river. We don't need to. It's not what this is for. We're not going to throw picnic tables down. There's not going to be a lounge area down there. And we're not looking for people to hang out down there, both for the farmers and for the neighbors. That it's not what this is for. It's supposed to be for access in and out, Litchfield residents. That's the goal with it. That being said, and the question goes, is it worthy of, was it $60 a month, I think, to put a porta potty down there so the neighbors aren't dealing with people who are climbing off their boats and have nowhere to go? And that, I'm going to put that out there as a question. What do people think?
I think it's probably worth doing. I guess the question is if it's down there and it's out of sight, is it gonna
Make its
get
way
knocked
into the
over,
river.
damaged,
Will it
float
turn
down
into
the
a boat?
river?
Flow down the river.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my concern.
But so
Can they tie it to the
that's
tree?
something maybe we say, hey, we give it a month or two and we see how it goes, and if we see issues, then we pull it.
Oh, that's interesting. I thought it was, it's just perspective. I thought we'd put it in the corner of the parking lot.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, parking lot.
But it's still down off.
You can't
off
see
the
it.
road.
Can you
and-
see
Oh,
it
you
from
can
the
see,
road?
oh, you
Yeah,
can
you'll
see
be able to
everything
see
from the road.
it?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. You'll be able to see the whole parking lot from the road now.
And
We moved it in the top of the hill.
the other thing is the Port Bergs will be able to see it too. That's going to be like,
So I guess the question
Porta
to
potty.
the Bergs is, would they rather have the porta potty there or
Yeah.
people in the woods? I mean, I can ask her that and find out what her opinion is. But that was one of the topics I had asked Troy to put on the agenda, but he said we had to discuss it first and decide what we wanted to do.
do they make porta potties that are a little bit more, or a little less obvious looking, like more camouflage? Yeah,
Camouflage?
yeah, kind of camouflage, maybe not.
They make paint.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, like everything that we have is like this blue, like this
Green.
electric blue or green or something like that. Yeah. So is
I've
there?
seen pink and blue ones at tournaments.
Would it be would it behoove us to make one that's a little bit more blends in with the?
Well, I mean, so
have one.
I think we use Dave's.
Yeah, so
for
maybe
everything,
they have the
and that's
types
what
of-
they have. Those
yeah.
are the green ones, but.
I mean, I'm just trying to think of.
Yeah, I didn't know you could even see it from the road.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be further.
Oh, the
down.
parking
Yeah.
lot's
The
right
hill.
there. Yeah,
Right there.
right before it drops off.
So they'll see cars already.
Mhm.
They'll see people. So they'll already see things.
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't know if putting a porta potty there is that much of an eyesore.
How is the visibility from the parking lot to the house or the backyard?
Right now.
In the off season, it's clear through. In another 3 weeks, I mean, her
And is there a
coverage
way to
of bushes and
screen
so
that
forth
even
will
with,
block the
Yeah,
whole
that's
parking
true.
lot.
You're right. Yeah.
Putting up a couple arborvitaes or something like that.
Mhm.
Something that would.
Kind of block the
Yeah,
direct
just
view
fence
of
it
it.
off.
That's a
Yeah.
good idea.
I mean,
Yeah, you put one especially if you put the porta potty like in the corner of the parking lot, you put arborvitaes on each corner or whatever. Yeah.
So if you can pass that down.
Oh, well, there you go.
What? Somebody text you with the answer?
No,
See, that's kind of camo.
It's kind of camo, yeah.
Oh yeah.
so they are out there. I don't know if the company that we use actually uses them, but that's kind of wild. And I get it. I mean, I was standing there talking to Mrs. Berg last week, and her view right now is
Oh, yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And most everything we've done, we've talked it out with her first. So if we're going to do a porta potty and you guys think it's a good idea as well, before I go to the selectmen, I'm going to get a hold of her and say, where do you stand on this? Because I want her opinion on it because it really impacts her the most.
This is purely just a place for people to bring their boat, access the river and come back in.
Correct.
You get a lot of fishing though down there too.
They're not hanging out there.
You're,
They're not
you're out there
eating.
3 or 4 hours on the water, and
But you're not going to go back upstream to use the porta potty.
actually the jetties on the river, at good chunks of the river, you can actually go upriver pretty easily on the right side of the river, up until after St. Francis. Then it gets a little
Where else?
Dicey.
Where else do people access this river?
across the river. Merrimack's got an access point. There's
Do
an
they have a
access-
porta
there's-
potty over there?
I don't know. Good question. There's an access point in Bedford that does not have a porta potty at it.
Hudson has no public access.
Oh, right.
Nothing in Hudson. The next one's Tingsboro, and I don't know what they have down there.
I did not look around to see who had one.
I mean, maybe.
And we can table it and sit back on it and see what we get for usage too.
Right.
One of the questions that we had the other day when we met on the fencing was, this parking lot could be too small. We could have 30 or 40 people here. I said, there's no way you're going to get 30 or 40 people here on a regular basis in this small town. It's just not going to happen.
I mean, I'd be interested to see what Merrimack's volume is for people using
Yeah,
it
I can't imagine you'd see more than five
couple?
or six, maybe 8 cars.
on a
And
Saturday.
even if you see
or
one car
Sunday.
that has 2 kayaks on it, or 3 kayaks or something on one car. Yeah.
And you can see the river, how often people are on the river.
Right.
It's not that common.
Mhm.
There was some write-ups that you could actually put in at the bridge, under the Pearl Harbor Bridge, and park up there and have another car waiting down here and paddle down. And it'd be a nice ride, be a smooth ride, but we don't see anybody putting it up there right now. So I'm not seeing this as being this overwhelming volume. It's giving an opportunity for the town.
Yeah, you occasionally see people there. I don't know if they're fishing or if they're on the river itself, but I know in that discussion they were saying that the Manchester PD kind of keeps an eye on that, and they try and keep people away.
I don't know what the Manchester PD can do with it. It's the State Department of Transportation's land. They allow access through it. They would give us access.
It's not
to
necessarily meant to be a parking area, but there is an area where they put the road extension out for future use, and there's an area you can
Yes,
and
right
there's
by
no-
Urban gas station. Yeah.
There's
What
no
is that?
signs that say no parking.
Yeah.
When we met the DOT up there, they were, we got parking here. You want to expand the parking, do that. The only issue there was the cliff was like 35 or 40 feet
Oh,
to get down to the river. It was a tough slope, and they didn't want us using the wildlife trail as an access point because that's right at the river level. That's beautiful, but they don't really. They said it was a wildlife access. We're not looking for human traffic down this. You'd have to create your own pathway separate from this. But I don't know how it's going to play out, how people are going to use it, whether it's going to be primarily fishing, kayaking, canoeing. We'll figure that out as time goes on. But
I guess we can monitor, or you guys, who's ever on Facebook, monitor what's up if there's a request for it. But
all right, then we'll just I'll table that then until I talk to her and we see what kind of volume of traffic we have there.
That's good.
All right.
You want a popcorn
Popcorn
machine down
Popcorn
there too?
machine.
Next to the water body.
Unrelated to river access. When we open it up, I want to do a popcorn machine. I got a request from the Litchfield Community Church. They're holding a fundraiser, and I wasn't sure if we still had a.
I think we have two. We did.
Is anyone
there's definitely
object-
one in
We
the
had
kitchen.
one, and one was donated to us. I thought at one point there was two.
Yeah, there's definitely one in that kitchen somewhere.
Anybody have an objection to me telling him? All right, I'll work it out with
Just-
her.
I hope it works. I,
Get
mean,
it. Well,
I think we've used it for Winterfest. Did we use it for
I think
Winterfest?
so, yeah.
I thought we used
Actually,
it. For,
no. I
Yes.
Heather already always got the bags of popcorn. We have had to.
Oh, that's right, from O'Neill's.
Yeah.
Used to get a lot of uses when we had the movie nights going down there.
Yeah, but even then we started doing the bags of popcorn from O'Neill.
O'Neill
I think
Cinemas
at the
would
point,
donate
yeah.
popcorn.
That's even
So
better.
much easier than popping it, I guess, right?
And cleaning it.
Yeah.
I'm going to jump off of our agenda and back to public input. Hi, how are you?
Hi,
What
how's
can
it
I do
going?
for you?
Sorry, I need to get forms in for our tournaments this summer.
Public input's closed.
All right, and we already covered
Until next fall.
Until next
We already covered that stuff, so we'll cover that in June. Is that all right with you?
I
You
just
should
put
tell me.
that-
I didn't.
I printed it out. I'm like, I better get these in just so they know.
So we have an application for field uses for Royal Memorial Park, all three fields, town hall bathrooms, 6/29 through 7/6. Am I reading that right? Is it cross?
No, 7.
Oh, beginning on 6/29, ending on 7/1, beginning on 7/6, ending on 7/8, beginning on 7/20, and ending on 7/22.
Yeah, we're
There we
having
go.
3 tournaments this year. Our normal district tournament and our normal invitational. I was approached by Londonderry to host states this year because they have a tournament going on, and it's a great deal for us. All we have to do is
It's just 12U.
it's just 12U and it's very easy. And I'm going to be there all weekend anyway because I coach the 12U, so it's very simple for us. So they asked us if we could host the 12U part of states for districts this year.
Paperwork in here. So it's an 8v8. There's no, I assume there's charging to go in the tournaments and so forth.
Yep. And that all goes back into, i.e., like our
That's right.
batting cages that we put up and
I know
that
the
stuff.
dates.
So
As it heads around the table and we take a look at it, you make a motion on it.
I'm fine with
You
it.
got it?
You need to see it?
No, so there's no other conflict those weekends or anything we didn't need to move.
Softball's
It's just
I have no requests for usage of the
Well,
fields.
it would just mainly be town hall.
Scouts
Right.
had the pavilion, but
Oh,
I
yeah,
don't think
town
it's
hall.
that late in the season. I think it was.
It's June.
June.
It's June. It's
mid-June,
usually
yeah.
like the last week of June or something during the week or something. I forget.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we're good with that.
I got to protect that because that's my wife's gig. So
We're good. We're good there. Plus, it's just for the pavilion anyway area. Yeah. So we're good.
I'll make a motion that we accept the request for, or application for field usage for the times and dates already spoken. Do I have a second?
Second.
And a second. Any further discussion?
No, I was just bringing up the calendar to make sure there's no conflict. That was the end of June.
June 29th.
Ninth, that Friday to that Sunday. It's all
29th.
Friday to Sunday.
So, Rick, you'd need to contact pickleball probably for all those Saturday
Wow.
dates.
This being said, we will set outside for pickleball. We'll let them know. We'll do what we do every year. So
Right.
we'll take care of them, make sure they have access. What we do is for the bathrooms, we just put so they go into the bathroom and out and they don't bother.
They use the side door, right?
The
Yes.
side door, and it's just we tape off, and they just go.
And we
right into
put
the bathroom.
I've been
like
there.
caution tape so they go there.
You set up separate parking for them too, didn't you last
Yes,
time?
we will do that again. So they can go right there so they can go in and out.
Does pickleball have any intent on using the outdoor courts this year?
I don't know.
Well, when they were here a few weeks ago, they were talking about using the outdoor courts.
So that would probably be an issue with, if they were just, I think they would be okay with that, saying, oh, we'll just play inside. But if,
Just give them the information.
just so that they're aware that those courts, because that's usually kind of that umpire staging area.
Yeah. that'll
Oh,
be good.
I thought you meant the outdoor courts over here by the tennis
No,
courts. They want to use the basketball courts.
well,
They-
did they use that last year at all?
No, they
No,
didn't.
they used
They
the
didn't.
tennis
And it's not, I don't even think it's lined.
Last
for
year they
them
were
for
building
that.
those.
The difficulty with using the basketball courts is there's nothing to stop the balls
Right.
from taking off.
Yeah, they had some. They wanted to drill the basketball courts, and
Yeah.
we asked them
Big
not to.
fat
So, yeah.
No, everything should be yay. Done.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0-0. You're all set. You handle this now?
I handle, well, not really these, and that I guess we can talk about who wants to handle these. I've been just doing the talent.
About getting them in the calendar type thing?
I
Well, that
get 'em in
doesn't
the-
go in the calendar anyway, because it's field. It's not.
I know.
Oh, it's more of a
We
letting you
probably
know what's
could
going on.
Do something on
We should
here.
at least
How do you like
we could
requesting your own
totally do
fields?
just add a
Do
separate.
it.
Can I use
Just
my
add
own
a
field,
separate
please?
Google
Well, I'm using talent, so
Correct.
that's,
Oh, yeah,
plus,
that's
plus
Fields,
this is a
Zero
big
fields.
event, so that I don't,
court.
that's not a
No.
problem. It's
We
a big
could.
event.
We
Because
really
then
could.
they overlay each
I-
one.
yeah, we should.
So
I can do that.
I
I'll
do
work
have
on
a
that.
question. You mentioned about the fencing,
We can talk about
That's our-
that too.
Fencing at,
Dara.
Why?
You mentioned anything about anything? The
no,
damaged fencing.
didn't
at
talk about
Dara.
that at all.
Okay.
Okay, we have damaged fencing at Dara.
Where?
PVC fencing?
No, the fencing
Out by the road?
by the road
Yeah, I
from the
think
last windstorm we've had, like a while back, that major windstorm we had. There, it took down some trees and there's some, right behind the 10U, there's one.
Yeah, right behind Bliss.
Yeah, Bliss.
Is the tree still on the fence?
No, but it's still, it's like halfway up. It's up, but it's like concaved. So I don't know if you're going to look at that or whatnot.
I'll swing by, take some pictures, send it out to everybody.
Okay.
Get an estimate of cost.
Okay.
Depending on how bad it is, we usually sit on that until
Yeah, I know.
flip year stuff. We went in one year and did a whole bunch of fence repairs because we had the money.
There's a ton of fence by the shed at Dara too. I mean,
It might just have to be pulled up.
So if you
Yeah, I don't
pull
know.
that top
I don't know.
rail.
I'm just letting you know.
I think a lot of those, that galvanized pipe that we had from the old fences,
Yeah.
most of that is gone.
Oh, okay.
There's still some behind the shed.
I was
think
wondering
I
if there was
think
a,
it
yeah,
was
because
only
there's a
the big
pile of it
stuff.
back there.
There was some big pieces from the basketball courts. There was really heavy.
And there was some small ones too, because I grabbed the green stakes that were back there to stake out the river access
Oh, okay.
and roped that all
Yeah,
off.
because there's like some inch and a half back there
Yeah,
still.
they
Yeah.
got
Probably just using
and
your
they got
top.
the bees too, the stuff that was
Yeah.
huge.
And last thing, the batting cages are now open. So,
Excellent.
Yeah.
Got lights on them, so I can do it at night, or?
That's our next, we're waiting to get that. Yes, we're trying to get, well,
So we did
PSNH.
talk. We met with an electrician over there.
And trying to
And
get that.
Who's supposed to be contacting Eversource about what do we need to do and
So we can do a
power over
pitching machine and just get lights
there.
into
Maybe put
that.
that scoreboard over there.
Where do you put the quarter to go use it?
On a side note, congratulations on your JV team.
Thank you. They're doing very well. Things are going well. We got a doubleheader tomorrow on Prospect Mountain. So not bad. 11. We're going to have 11. After this week, we'll have 11 total games. Last 2 years, they did 7. So we'll have, I think we'll probably have another, we might have 14 games by the day the year done. So
Good for the kids.
it's great for them. So.
Last note on our agenda, Dara Playground.
Thank you.
I took care of that with Kevin.
Thank you. And I got the bill today.
Okay, yeah, it was 580 something or something like that.
So is it
yeah.
just replacing bolts?
No, it was Kevin and I went out there and took a look at it this past winter when there was like a foot of snow, and we kind of condemned a certain area, but of course the kids still climbed through the tape and everything. So I was reminded by a post on Facebook. I was like, oh, it was like a month ago. So we should go look at it. So I called Kevin and we went and looked at it again. And the bolts were loose. The bolt holes were elongated, like the metal moving up and down, really made the holes instead of round, they were oval. New bolts wouldn't have helped. So he called, what was it, RC?
Oh, it's
RC Welding came out and fabricated a bracket. And then I guess there was the handles were loose up top, backed all that stuff up, welded some new rebar in to secure the handles up top too. So
where that was all welded in the new bracket, does that have any? Was it painted or anything, or is that?
I don't know. I haven't been out there to look. I didn't even think to ask.
Okay, I'll probably be over there tomorrow.
I would assume that. I mean, you'd think that would be something that a welder
Yeah,
usually does, but I don't know. But yeah, so now it's safe. There won't be any more complaints. It won't be because it is actually a 2-man job because we couldn't figure out what was wrong. So finally I said, Kevin, get up there and just walk around. So I stayed underneath. If I went up there, the thing would collapse. So he's like going back and forth and moving it around. And I'm looking and I'm like, oh yeah, okay, all right, I see the problem. So then we isolated the problem
And those bolt holes are actually the second tier bolt holes. They're not the originals. The ones, that's already been repaired once. They've re-drilled bolt holes right where it connected to the
that's why they were so
platform
close
stairs.
together.
Yeah. They had re-drilled, and because that's the only connection for it. I haven't seen the bracket, but Kevin told me what he was going to do, and it made the most sense.
Yeah,
It was gonna go
just
across with
saddling
the
it
bracket
together,
and connect the
yeah.
two, so it's solid.
Yeah.
A lot of play up there, and historically, there's 4 or 5 kids up there at once, hanging around. It's not one kid up and down the slide. That's just not how slides work. They hang out on that tiny little staircase.
Yeah. So
I'm happy to hear it's functional.
yeah, well, it was just something that I saw it. Like I said, I saw it on Facebook, and I called him up, and I was like, "Let's just go get this done." Because the moms were like, "Well, what are we going to do?" And somebody had seen it, and another mom suggested that, "Well, why don't we get a bunch of dads to fix it?" And I was like, "Let's look at this first." This could be bigger than just a bunch of dads showing up with a socket set, and it was thankfully so.
Can I ask about other things at the playground? Because one of the swings is broken, so it's a toddler swing. Was there ever looked at putting in big kid size swings, like real swings at any point, or if that's something that we could fit in with our budget even? Because
What do you mean, the tall swings?
yeah, well they only have toddler swings at the playground.
Right.
There is no regular.
One you could
Swing.
fit a
Swing.
kid's butt
Yeah.
in
It's only
instead of
the
a little
ones with
baby.
the
Babies.
kind of the basket seat.
Right, we used to have
The
one at
bucket.
Corning Field, the tall swings. There was
Yes,
4 of
there
them up in the
was.
parking lot,
Yes,
way back.
Yeah. There was one at Jeff Lane too.
That would be equipment purchases. That's why we have money sitting in there.
Yeah.
It would have to come out of our budget. It couldn't be used from any kind of impact fees or
Yes.
anything. I guess it wouldn't be a new system.
Is that something we could look into? I mean,
Sure.
This is so busy. How would we look into it? Reach out to Troy or?
Yeah, we'd have to have Primex. Primex shut down the swings at Jeff and Corning originally. Not Primex, but
those were
they were outdated.
outdated.
Yeah,
they were
yeah.
ancient, yeah.
So I mean, yeah, I guess we just need to.
So, because we had looked into playground equipment purchases for possibly doing something there, but also at Sawmill.
Yeah, right.
And so there's 1,000 companies out there that sell the different play sets and stuff. It's actually harder to find just a swing set than it is to
Yeah.
find the big play structures.
Mhm.
But everybody has them.
Doesn't
They're
GMS
They're
still
not that
have
much money. They're really not that much.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do.
Right at the beginning, right at the edge of the parking lot. GMS has
Yes.
one running.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The swing set, like I say, a 3-swing structure
Yep.
is not.
Oh, it's
I
hard
don't
to
think they're
find.
more than like $1,200.
But they're hard to find too.
Yeah, and then you probably have to pay for shipping, and unless you find a local
Assembly.
company, But, and then as far as an insurance requirement on installation, I don't know if. Well, I guess no GMS they installed. It was all done by
Volunteers.
volunteers, so I guess that can be done. So
So how to take a next step on that? I'd love to get
just
it.
find something, that you think would work, and
And
then
then
we
we'll vote on it.
we vote on it, and then
Okay.
Have Troy run it through the insurance
Then we
company.
meet out there with somebody with a post hole digger, and I have a
Why
cement
did I go
mixer,
for
and
a
we're all
no?
set.
All right.
I think I lost my post hole digger. I can't find it anymore.
it's all roots over there too. I'm sure.
I have a
bigger one.
handheld one, but that's a lot of holes.
I grew up on a farm. We used to call that the Charlie horse machine.
Okay.
Moving fences with a handheld one. Oh god.
Not bad for 1 or 2 holes. When you're doing dozens, it's tiring. We're at the other form of our agenda today. Anybody have anything other?
Well,
than
you'd said that toddler swing was broken. Was
Yeah.
one broken.
One of them's broken. Yeah.
So you might want to look at.
Well, why were you trying to replace the structure? You just want swings, right?
No.
The structure's there.
He wants to add
No, there's a toddler swing which has
With two
toddler
swings.
swings.
So can you just undo one of them and put a sling swing up? The
I don't
one.
know if you want.
No, you need it like for a big kid. They need, like those things don't have
Oh,
enough,
okay.
Yeah,
swing.
they're probably like 8 feet high.
Yeah.
Oh, let me take a step back. One of the toddler swings there right now is broken. Is it disconnected or is it hanging?
That's disconnected. I can.
So the bucket's
Find it.
gone?
Yep.
Okay, so.
Yeah, Kevin and I looked for that when we were up there, and we think it might be in the middle of the pond at this point.
So-
there's nowhere to. It's
Oh, the
nowhere.
swing itself is gone.
Yeah, the thing.
bucket.
Yeah,
So
it's-
if you're
it's-
researching the swings, you may want to
I can do that. Yep.
getting that. And then the other, while we're on that subject, is just noticed again that the seesaw is behind the shed. I don't know if it's still usable as far as just replacing it and reinstalling it, but it's sitting behind the shed right now. But again,
It's in
when I'm
pretty
over
rough
there
shape.
tomorrow, I'll take a look and see if it looks like it's, I mean, if we're gonna be over there like digging holes and pouring concrete or whatever, we might as well put it back up. If it's
Well, the
Again,
new one
let's
is
run this.
broken.
We gotta probably talk to Troy about it, just because it's a seesaw, and I don't know if our insurance company would.
merry-go-rounds are the big ones.
Yeah, they don't like those
Yeah.
anymore.
Love merry-go-rounds.
Go type up on YouTube. Type in merry-go-round. You'll see more kids getting their teeth knocked
Okay.
out.
I was at Hampton Beach in January. We were using the merry-go-round. It was fabulous. The kids loved it.
You mean you?
No, the kids. The little 2-year-old.
He was the
me
one
and
pushing them, and
a
they're all
couple
like,
3 and 4-year-olds. Oh, I had the thing moving.
Wow.
Yeah, I bet.
I had it going. Hang on. I like the Dome of Death, so I missed that. too.
Oh, I was disappointed when that went away. The
Me
Dome
too.
of Death, because my kid loved that thing. You never got hurt on it.
I helped huff that all into the back of the Corning Fields, and then they destroyed it on us.
was that just sawzalled off
Dome
and
of
then
Death.
moved?
Okay.
It was just like this big.
Yeah.
It was out by the
It
T-ball
was, what,
field.
10 or 12 of us to carry that thing. It was huge.
Yeah, it was
It was
massive.
when the parking lot was done, right?
Yep.
When the parking lot was
Get to get it out of there.
What did Jack go out there with like a pipe saw and just cut it
It was
into
just a
pieces?
sawzall.
What a waste.
Broke my heart because they spend a lot of money on really cheap aluminum ones right now, and we had that massive steel one sitting out there. That
Well, I don't know why we got. Again, it's an insurance thing, right? The insurance company didn't like it, so
based on no claims.
there's never any claims for
Right.
anything. But I think they just look at what we have and they say, "Oh, we don't like that," in case something happens. But
Anyway, anybody have anything else?
One more thing that Troy sent to us regarding a Municipal Resources Incorporated coming in
yeah,
on the 22nd.
put that in your date book. You and I are going to meet with them.
What day is it on? 22nd,
Yeah, May 22nd.
middle of the wedding.
They're there.
I leave for the wedding that morning. I'll be. I don't know what time are they getting here.
They're available from 9 to 4. They like to tour the facilities and remember we talked about doing this together, but obviously, you know, the wedding wasn't figured in and we didn't know when they
Well, they didn't
gonna
have a
do
date
this.
when we
Yeah,
talked
yeah.
about it. Somebody want to stand in for me? And I know knowledge-wise,
I think I'm
You flying.
probably. I
I'm
usually
leaning
work-
down the table
I
for the guy who's
usually-
got the most
I
knowledge.
usually work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So I'm guessing I'm not going to be there.
Oh, I didn't even see this. When did that come up today?
Yeah, you
Yeah,
just sent it out at 2:30. Yeah, I think it would be good to get, you know, people that are pretty strong and to, you know what's going on with the facilities, you know. So
Well, so Kevin is going to be there, I assume.
Kevin Lynch? Why? Not for rec.
Well, because he's probably got the most knowledge overall of Talent Hall.
Oh, well, yeah, for that. But we're talking about the grounds and things like that. I just want to discuss like challenges and how we handle things and stuff. And I think, you know, there's got to be a board member that's represented. I mean, I'll be there, but I can't represent the rec. But you guys have to have somebody that can.
22nd. Yeah, I'm working.
I'm out of state that day. Way back from time for this meeting, but not until then.
I would assume it would include the basketball courts, the tennis courts, you know,
There's
all
a
the
lot of-
baseball
yeah,
fields,
everything.
and the whole 9 yards. This is not going to be a half an hour tour.
Well, that's why I was hoping that, you know, you could do it because you touched everything in town.
Pretty much. Yeah, just not that day.
So are they looking? What's the review for? I guess I didn't. Maybe I didn't finish reading the email, but it's to look at the usage and efficiency and things like that.
Yeah, like what are our challenges that we're facing right now, how we're taking care of things, how we manage it versus, you know, and then they're going to absorb all that information that we give them. And again, it's somebody that we need to have that has reliable information on how rec runs. And then they're going to take all that. And then once they're done with their report, they will help us get a direction that we need to go in to get better at what we do.
Not just recreation, the whole town.
Well, it's the whole, yeah, it's everything like the solid waste and highway and
Well, I guess if if you're not available, I'm not available, and whoever might be able to meet with them, maybe we could all kind of go through
the
and,
departments.
you know,
yeah.
concerns or issues that we've seen in the past that we think we need to find a way to address. I mean, realistically for us, the biggest problem we have is not having a full-time employee for exactly things like this, you know?
I mean, I just don't feel like, I mean, I'm not knocking Kevin because he's very well versed at the building, with the building, but I think that everything else is just something we need to have representing, you know, he doesn't know anything about the soccer fields or the
So,
softball
yeah, I thought
fields.
when I read that it said facilities, I thought they were talking about structures.
Oh, okay, right. So yeah, so sometime between now and May 22nd, we need to come up with, you either got to not go to a wedding, not fly.
Any possibility of them coming down on the 21st, or is that just, they just set a date and that was it? Because I could do it the 21st, happily.
Well, let me just email Troy
Well,
back.
yeah, we could check with Andy. Well, Andy won't be able to do it.
Yeah, he teaches, so.
I have to run, guys. I have an issue with work.
That's all right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We're done, 500.
Thank you. Works.